Tampa, Florida. What's going on? Welcome to the Hard Rock Casino. Welcome to the Collection Live with Kirk Hammett. My name is Mark Agnesi. I'm the Director of Brand Experience for Gibson Guitars, the resident guitar nerd. I host a TV show on YouTube called The Collection. Kirk was a guest on that show last year. Did anyone see Kirk's episode of The Collection? Yeah, it was a lot of fun. That show then got turned into a coffee table book called The Collection with Kirk Hammett. That came out in April. Who here already has the book? Yeah, these are the real Metallica fans. So, what we're doing tonight is we're celebrating the book, the photography in the book, and most importantly, the guitars in the book. We have some featured guitars here tonight, some that we haven't seen in quite a long time that we're going to talk about. All we need to do is get him out here. Do you guys want to start this thing? You want to get Kirk out here? Fantastic. Please welcome to the stage one of my childhood guitar heroes, one of my favorite people to talk about guitars with, the Ripper, Kirk Hammett.
All right. Woo-hoo. All right. What a nice room. What a great room filled with a bunch of great people. How you guys doing tonight? What a lovely day. Yes. All right.
Bro, how you been? I haven't seen you in a couple weeks.
Man, I had a great day at the beach today, so, I can't really...
Went in Tampa?
Yeah, there's a great, big, beautiful ocean, so I just had to jump in it. And I had to grab Rob, too, and go, Rob, come on, let's jump in the ocean. But, man, a couple hours later, there we were on the beach, on the sand, with our guitars, working on music. I couldn't believe it. I actually worked on music on the beach, it was so funny. It's just, can't help ourselves. We weren't really working, we were jamming.
Well, it was a steamy one last night, but it was a lot of fun.
Man, I gotta tell you.
Everybody have a good time at the show last night? Yep.
I lost about 10 pounds worth of water weight last night.
I would say, you have to. I mean, that's crazy. I think I did standing in the crowd. I wasn't even doing anything.
When I came off stage, my pants were wet from hip down all the way down to my ankles. I couldn't believe it. It was crazy. And I went through like 4 or 5 t-shirts, and there's no... I actually thought that maybe I could wear a jacket on stage, like my foolish self thought, but no way. I walked out there, I looked at our wardrobe lady, and I was like, there's no way. And I looked at Justin, I was like, there's no way. Justin's like, no. Justin's my guitar tech, by the way, he's back there. Yeah.
Shout out to Justin. Justin puts this whole thing together, and it's fantastic. We got a lot to talk about. The book is out.
Yes.
We're all so proud of the book. It looks so amazing. You did this with Ross Halfin. You have worked with Ross and been shot by Ross Halfin for how long?
I first met Ross in 1984. He came out, he flew out to take pictures of us right as we were signing to Elektra, and it was during that whole Ride the Lightning period, and it was the start of a long, beautiful relationship that's still going on to this day, and Ross and I, wow, we've had a lot of great times all over the world, and we've gotten into a lot of trouble together. I have to say, because that's just part of it, It's just part of being with Ross. You just get into trouble. Well, back then, yeah. All he has to do is open his mouth.
So when you knew you were going to do a book, was Ross kind of the obvious choice for you? Did you guys?
Yeah. Well, I did a book called Too Much Horror Business about 10 years ago, and then I had to reshoot almost everything. Once I used, okay, let me back up. I used the wrong type of photographer to shoot the movie posters and toys. I had to go back and find a certain type of photographer, and it was a little bit of a nightmare because I had to reshoot everything over again. And I thought, okay, so going into this book, I was gonna go and use someone that I just knew would do the job, and it was, the first person who really just jumped to mind was Ross, because we had such a long relationship. And Ross has been making these panoramic picture books of vast landscapes of buildings and nature and seascapes and skies and whatnot. And I was really surprised when I found out that he had this side thing about panoramic photography. And so I said, Ross, let's do this kind of stuff for the book. You know, let's put me in big panoramic shots. He said, right, let's do it. And that's what happened.
Well, there seems to be a couple themes in the book. One is your love of your home in Hawaii and the state of Hawaii. A lot of it seems to be street art, and then the other thing we got to talk about, other than the guitars, is we got to talk about the wardrobe, because there's some sick fits, dude. There are some sick fits in the book. Are you being styled? Are you picking clothes? Just before we get into guitars, we got to talk about the clothes.
Oh yeah, okay, so other than my love of music and horror movies and family and surfing, I love fashion. And if I'm not doing any of that other stuff, I'm usually online looking for stage clothes, basically. And in my quest for looking for stage clothes, I end up picking up a lot of other types of clothes, and you know, I thought, well, here's my opportunity. We're making a book, and I have all these clothes. I might as well wear them. And so, yeah, I am embarrassed about my wardrobe, and if you guys see anything familiar on The Real Real.
And yours?
Yeah.
All right. I mean, should we talk about some guitars? Are you guys ready for that? Okay. Let's start as close to the beginning as we can with this guitar.
Yeah. You know, I almost lost that guitar once. We're on the Kill 'Em All for One tour. We were playing the Metro in Chicago, and it's on film.
Oh, I've seen it.
You know, I was holding it over the crowd. I didn't know. I mean, you know, it was 20 years old. It's our first tour. I didn't know that people would actually reach up and grab the neck and like get into a tug of war with my guitar. I almost lost my guitar that night, but thank God my tech came running and jumping off the stage, feet first, to save that guitar, and he got it back. But that guitar's been through a lot, I have to say, and it's still great. I took it out of the case, and I held it, and I thought, wow, I bought that guitar brand new in 1979, and I still have it now. And the feel of it, it's so crazy because I've played so many guitars since owning that guitar, and so you know how it is. Your hand kind of contours to the guitar you're playing, right? You know, it's just how it is. But when I grab that guitar, it feels so comfortable still. You know, it feels like it did when I first got it when I was 17 or 18 years old. It's just like coming home, you know? It's just like coming home.
And how did you? Where did this guitar come from? Where did you find it? How did you get this?
I bought that guitar in 1979 at Leo's Music in Oakland, California. And Leo's Music was a really, really great place. A lot of the local Bay Area bands would go there, like Journey and Grateful Dead, Santana, whatnot. You know, I saw Larry Graham one time there, bass player from Sly Stone. I couldn't believe it. I was like, whoa, that's Larry Graham. But back then, Flying V's, when they'd come in, they'd only come in like maybe 2 or 3 at a time. You know, sometimes you walk into a store and you'll see a whole row of Flying V's, but it wasn't like that in the late 70s. They were kind of rare, even then. And Gibson just didn't make as many as they started to afterwards. And so seeing a Flying V was kind of a rare thing. So when they got it, I just gravitated right to it. It was black, which is the color I love. And I said to the salesman, I even remember his name, Rich Bandoni. And I said, Rich, man, I need to have this guitar. Will you hold it for me? He said yes. So I got a job at Burger King, and Burger King did for about 3 months. Got enough money, so I gave some cash in my Strat that just wasn't working for me to to Rich, and I got that Flying V, and I was halfway there, man. I was halfway there.
What was missing?
Marshall amplification.
Gibson and a Marshall.
The old faithful Marshall. I mean, Marshall. There's a million great amps these days. Miss Boogie, you know, is wonderful. But there's something about that Marshall sound, and I think it's something really deep and subconscious. It's because all the music that I grew up listening to in late 60s, early 70s is made through Marshall amplification or Fender, you know. And so that was the sound I was going through, or going for, and I wasn't getting it until I finally got that Marshall half stack. And once I got the Marshall half stack and that guitar, man, that was there, and Exodus was just, all of a sudden it changed Exodus's sound, and we were fatter and bigger sounding and heavier. And I remember saying to Gary, we need to do everything we can to get you a Marshall half stack. And then once he got a half stack, our sound was just like proper heavy metal, proper, you know. And we were still just a teenage garage band in a suburb playing new wave of British heavy metal that hardly anyone had ever heard. And we were playing it loud, you know? And so we must have sounded so strange to people back then, you know? But that sound, as you guys know, became super popular, and now, you know, it's the thing. Heavy metal rules, okay? Thank God for heavy metal.
Name me some riffs. Name me some riffs that would have come out of this guitar.
Oh man, I wrote that heavy part of Creeping Death on that guitar. You know, a large part of when I was in Exodus was all written on that guitar. I mean, stuff from Fade to Black, all the leads on Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, and parts of Justice. All that stuff was worked out on that guitar. I mean, that was my guitar. There was a time when we carried our instruments up until about Injustice for All, when there was we had actual cases, but I would always carry my V with me, just like I carry Greeny with me all the time. And so much stuff was worked out or written or recorded on that guitar. And other than maybe the Mummy guitar, and my Cage Caution guitar, that's the guitar that's been the total workhorse. And you know, Greeny's a workhorse, and you know, so
it's got to be kind of crazy that a riff that you wrote on this guitar when you were probably 18 years old, you guys opened a stadium with.
Yeah,
last night, I was 40-some years later. You know, it's crazy that guitar brought out riffs that people are still screaming "die" at the top of their lungs. A stadium full of people screaming "die" to a riff you wrote on that guitar when you were 17 years old. This is magical stuff.
Yeah, you know, I get chicken skin just thinking about it, because I can recall just sitting in a room with that guitar and like the most horrible sounding practice amp, right? And then just all of a sudden playing that riff and going, wow, this is like nothing that's coming out of the radio right now. And just thinking, this is it. And you know, the reason why I get chicken skin is because sometimes when I'm up on stage screaming "die," I'm that 16-year-old kid that wrote that riff, you know? And all of a sudden it's like, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, the time displacement that happens in my mind right at that moment is quite a unusual sort of experience. But you know, I really just like, for me, it's the magic of music, and man, good music will just never really go away. Good music refuses to go away. I mean, look at all the great, amazing classical music that's still around today, man. You know, sometimes I think, is heavy metal going to be regarded as like 20th century classical music? Who knows? It'd be great, man. It'd be really great if it did.
Judging by the amount of people that have been at all the shows I've been to on this tour, I think 100 years from now, people are still going to be talking about this, and it's still going to be as big a deal as it was last night, you know?
It'd be interesting to be able to see what people are saying, that for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Well, I gotta just, because we have a lot, I want to talk about Hawaii, because really quick, this last picture that how did Hawaii play the role in this book as kind of another character? Because there's a lot of beautiful shots of Hawaii in here. Where are you guys shooting? Is there a specific island that you were on for a lot of this?
Yeah, you know, I live on Oahu, and yeah, it's beautiful. And Hawaii is very dynamic, as you guys know, in terms of like just pure natural beauty and landscape. And there's just so many great places that you just kind of like, you turn a corner and you're like, oh my God, wow, look at this great expanse, you know, or look at this beauty. And it changes throughout the seasons too. And so no place is really the same for that long. I mean, I lived in San Francisco. I grew up in San Francisco. Nothing changed in my neighborhood for years and years and years, except for like maybe the people, you know. But it's different in Hawaii. Things are changing all the time, all around you, and it's never static. And so Ross and I found this one spot. It was behind Honolulu Aquarium, which you're not really supposed to go to. It was like really like, it was gated off, but we would jump over the gate and hand the guitars over, and we would sit there, and every single evening at about 6:30, the sky and the ocean looked different. And if you look at the pictures, the sky and the ocean's never the same, the lighting's never the same, and you know, even the times of days that might look similar, they're not. I mean, this was taken at like 5:45 in the morning to take advantage of the morning light. And it was a little bit brutal. And am I wearing the same shirt? Oh my
Sick
God.
fits. Sick fits.
Sorry guys, sorry. I should have checked. I gotta go now.
Thank you for coming to the collection with Kirk Hammett. That'll be all for tonight.
Yeah. But you know, the greatest thing about Hawaii is that we went there at times when no one could nail us for not having permits. We didn't get any permits for the entire book, you know. We just shot guerrilla style. A lot of the times people come up and go, and we would say, oh yeah, we got a permit. And they go, okay, and just like walk off. I mean, that's all we had to say. It's like, oh, we're cool. And they're like, okay, you know, island style.
All right, so this guitar is where the love of Flying V starts.
Yeah.
Oh boy, that's a big one.
Yeah. Okay, so let me just explain the importance of this guitar in my life. Okay, so again, I was a teenager, hanging out in my room, trying to learn how to play guitar, trying to learn Michael Schenker and UFO songs and solos, and in my moments of frustration, just grabbing the album and staring at the back of the album and staring at Michael Schenker's picture, and his picture's like literally like this big, you know? I was like, damn, why isn't it bigger? Say what? My hearing's bad, guy. I'm sorry. So, yeah, he was playing a red Flying V, a medallion V, and I thought, wow, what a great guitar, man. I wish I had a cool Flying V like that. Well, about 4 years ago, I got a message from a really, really great guitar player, really great musician, someone who's influenced me in the past, and I just love his band. This guy named Ross Halfin. He's in a band called Accept, and man, Accept are one of the best bands to ever exist. And the song Fast as a Shark is just a heavy metal classic. I actually played on it for the Accept tribute album that's coming out. Actually, it's me on guitar, I'm playing the solo and rhythm track. Mickey D's on drums, and Phil Anselmo is actually singing Fast as a Shark. Yeah, it's cool. I forget who the bass player is. I asked Rob, and he wasn't interested. Damn it. But Wolf said, hey, I have a guitar that you might be interested in. And I thought, I don't know, because I wasn't really buying guitars right then. But he said, oh yeah, you're going to be interested. I have Michael Schenker's Medallion V. And I was like, okay, I'm interested. And then I said, okay, first things first, send me pictures, blah, blah, blah. And he sent me pictures. And he sent me pictures of the case. And so I saw the case. And okay, so Michael Schenker, when he left UFO in 1980 to start the Michael Schenker group, he stayed at Peter Mensch's house, which is one of our managers. And in 1980, Peter Mensch lived in Earl's Court. You know, we used to go there and hang out all the time at his place in Earl's Court. And so I took that picture of the case, and I looked at it, and I was like, that must be Peter Mensch's phone number. And so I sent that picture to Peter Mensch with, you know, a simple question: is this your phone number? And he said, yeah, that is my phone number. I said, thank you, that's all I needed to know. And that was my way of verifying that guitar. And then I spoke to Michael, and he said, yes, that is the guitar. That is the red medallion V from the UFO days. And so, I mean, him verifying it is pretty much all I need. And you can actually see parts of the old red finish on around the neck volute. And so, I mean, it's an amazing guitar. It's one of those guitars that I spent a long time like staring at as a youth, and then all of a sudden I end up like having this guitar. It's really quite a weird, strange circumstance, but I love it. And so okay, so there's a picture of me with the UFO amp, right? And
Is that
yeah.
one of the amps as well in your collection?
Yeah, so I got the message through Ross that Michael Schenker saw this picture, and now he wants to know about that amp. And he wants more pictures of that amp. And I'm wondering why. And so I'm a little nervous about it, to tell you the truth. But, you know, we'll get to the bottom of that.
Well, any Flying V fan or great collector knows that the Carina Flying Vs are amongst the coolest of all time.
Yeah. I don't know what it is about Carina, but Carina sounds really amazing.
So you have one over here. You played this during the duet with Rob last.
Yes, that is Carina, and Carina has a very unique sound. It makes it really just like, I don't know, man. There's a lot of fullness and just like a lot more grit. I don't know, man. It's just so great. I will play.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
I will play. But you know, that particular Carina V right there, it is so crunchy sounding when I plug it into like a boogie. It has 1957 PAFs, which are some of the best sounding PAFs out of the whole PAF period, because they used German steel in 1957, that's a great guitar to record with. I wish that it was a bit more durable like Greeny. If it was a little bit more durable, I would tour with that guitar because it sounds amazing.
Now, let's not bury the lead. This is a Carina Flying V. We only made about 81 of them in 1958. But this is not one of the 81.
No. Okay, so it's actually a prototype. It's one of two prototypes that are known to exist, and Gibson was able to get the other prototype and lay them side by side and compare them, and they matched up. Everything matched up. Even the insides matched up underneath the pickguard, and that's wonderful news for me, because in the collecting world, you'll always have people who are detractors or skeptics or whatever, and you know, I'll say something like, "Hey, this is a prototype V," and they're like, "Prove it." And like, and then you have to prove it, you know, or you don't. But I always knew, because I got it from someone who was just like super trustworthy and very solid, very knowledgeable, that it was the guitar that he claimed it to be. But there's a whole crowd of people saying, no, there's no way that could have been a prototype. But Gibson, they confirmed that it was.
Well, the only thing cooler than a Carina Flying V is another Carina Flying V. So we might as well have one with a white pickguard too.
Well, you know, if there are two types of Carina Flying Vs, one with the white pickguard and one with the black pickguard, being the completist that I try to be, I had to get both. And you know, I'm really glad that I have a lot of these guitars. And I got these guitars in the 80s and 90s because, man, these guitars, the value has just gone up to the point where I just like to trade guitars now. I don't really like to like, you know, go into any sort of deal unless it's a trade, because when you trade, everyone's happy, man. Everyone is just so happy. So I trade guitars now. I stopped buying guitars. It's a good thing. Yeah. See, that's the spot. That's the
This is
Hawaiian-
that same spot that we saw, but it's totally different.
Yeah.
What are you doing in this photo?
So, yeah, I'm glad you guys can't tell, but Ross made me hold that position for like 3 minutes. And I was shaking and sweating, you know, the humidity was getting to me. I'm like, Ross, you got the shot. He's like, 1 second, black and white, 1 second color, and then he gets closer, and he gets backwards. He's like, hold on, switches cameras, and like, I'm literally like shaking because, you know, holding that position, it's like Pilates or something.
Oh boy. Well, we've made it to that part of the show. Wherever you are, it's not far away. Let's talk about Greeny.
She really is a star in her own right, I have to say. You know, she's a star in her own right. And you know, when I got this guitar, it was already a really, really popular guitar that a lot of people knew about. And man, I just had to say, it took about 30 seconds for me to know that this is the guitar that I needed to have. And I remember saying to Richard Henry, the guy who sold it to me, I said, Richard, you're not getting this back. I was like, no, we're doing a deal. We're doing a deal right now. And you know, it was a very reasonable deal. You know, the myth, the legend is I spent $2 million on this guitar. To be honest, I wouldn't spend $2 million on anything. But you know, it's just like, for me, it's priceless now. I can't even put a price on it. It's like ridiculous to put a price on it. This thing is just such, it's an emotional instrument that has so much history and like, it sings every single night. And man, it just, when I hit a note some nights, it'll just sit there and it'd probably sing through the whole show if you had the opportunity. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about this, because this had to be a pretty special moment right here. What are we looking at?
Yeah, I went out to see Peter Green, and it was around the time that we were going to do the Peter Green tribute, and the idea was to get him to actually show up for his own tribute. And, you know, Mick Fleet was like, yeah, please, do everything you can. I've spoken to him and he's not giving me a straight answer. And then we did get one answer, and he wanted to stay, or wanted to watch the show from the Queen's box. And, you know, no one sits in the Queen's box except for the Queen. And so that was like probably not going to happen. So Ross and I went over there, you know, under the auspices of trying to talk him into coming to the tribute, and also, you know, I wanted to meet him, you know, I wanted to introduce myself, I wanted to show him Greeny, because you probably hadn't seen Greeny in a long time, and so the whole drive down, Ross and I were really just like edgy and nervous, and we really didn't know what to expect, because there's quite a bit of a legend behind Peter Green and just how unpredictable he can be. He's had a very rough life, I guess we could say. And so when we finally got there, I remember getting there, and like, okay, here goes. And so his keeper, this other guy, answered the door, invited us in, and walk into the living room, and I looked down on the desk, and there's a copy of Master of Puppets. Actually, there's 3 copies of Master of Puppets. Vinyl. And I'm like, oh, thank God. Oh my God. All right, so at least he knows, you know, where I'm coming from. And so we sat down, we talked about fishing, because he was really into fishing, and I've been fishing ever since I was like 5 or 6 years old. And so we were talking about just going out and fishing and just, you know, fish and whatnot. And then and we finally got around to talking to music, and he really, really enjoyed Master of Puppets, and actually said that he wanted to see Metallica. And I was like, yeah, come by. And I actually signed copies of Master of Puppets for him, which was felt like a really, really great thing, me being able to do that for him. And then I said to him, hey, I have something to show you, Peter. And I brought out Greeny, and look, it's Greeny. He said, that's not my guitar. My guitar used to have a lot more red. And I was like, okay.
You can argue this.
Yeah, I wasn't about to argue with him or get into some debate about, whether this is his guitar or not. And then that's when we went outside and said, let's take some pictures outside. And we took pictures, and that's where these shots come in. And it was weird because we first started taking pictures, just him and I, and then I had to very gently ask him, I go, is it okay if you hold my guitar? And he said, yeah, sure. And, I haven't really said this, but I think, when I set it in his hands, there was a little bit of recognition there. He kind of looked at it, but he really didn't say anything, And it was really strange and a little bit heartbreaking because he literally passed away like 3 weeks after this. And it wasn't anything that anyone could see coming, It's just one of those things. Had a really, peaceful passing, thank God. No huge fanfare or medical thing or anything. But man, it was surprising. But I think he was happy. Because he was hanging out in the south or the great north of London, I think that's what they call it, and he just liked to fish. I was going to bring him a fishing pole, but it was a Sunday and all the places were closed.
Well, let's talk Greeny. What would we call the condition on this guitar? Mint minus. Mint minus condition.
A player.
Let's talk about here. Let's start with this. Where did this come from?
Bro, you know what I just noticed?
What?
I just noticed that those are new. Those are new, oh my God.
Like from last night, new?
Probably, or just like, I know those are my marks. Yeah.
Well, that's what we're talking about. What are your marks? What are Gary Moore's marks?
Okay, so
what are Peter Green's marks?
Right, so these are from Gary Moore, because Gary Moore, when he played...
We're talking this stuff in between the pickups here.
Yeah, he used to anchor his fingers right there when he played. He used his fingers as a fulcrum. Yes, a fulcrum. And like pick that way. And there's these weird like check marks right here. I suspect that might have been more Peter Green, just like always fooling with the knobs, but I don't know. And this wear right here is my wear because I just kind of like habitually put my arm there. And this I think is because I use a really hard pick.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm actually literally this is like the first time I've noticed this. And it's because I looked there and it wasn't on that picture, and here it is now. And so, okay.
It happens.
Okay.
I think this is my favorite shot in the book. This kind of sums up what the whole book is about. Kirk Hammett, sick outfit, bitching guitar, sitting on a cliff in Hawaii.
Yeah, but the funny thing is that I'm using a wireless, like a wireless amp. I'm plugged in, and my amp is like really loud. I was playing like full-on heavy metal riffs and like solos and everything. And you know how it looks serene? Well, if you're there, I was playing like UFO riffs and like Motorhead and like just like all sorts of crazy stuff. And so it wasn't as serene as it looks. It was really loud and heavy metal. And I was just kind of taking a break right there. Oh, damn balls, man.
The beach balls.
Yeah.
This just seems like an accident waiting to happen every night.
Yeah.
Has there been any hijinks with the beach balls this run? Because I know there's been some hijinks with beach balls in the past.
Well, one of our guys got sliced open and had to get a few stitches You know, when they're deflated, I think what happens is the edges get a little bit sharper, and he just got sliced. But yeah, you know, it's crazy. We've been doing the ball thing for a long time. I think it was actually my idea to use it. Yeah,
that tracks. That tracks.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. But yeah, you know, there's this one mishap that happened one time. And it was on I think it was the Hardwired tour. No, it wasn't the Hard. It was on the Death Magnetic tour, and we were in the round, but we had the smaller stage, and we were playing probably Seek and Destroy, and I saw a ball there, and I kicked it, right, and then I heard the whole section of audience there go, oh, and I'm like, what happened? And I was like looking around. It's like, what happened? Something happened. Wow, what happened? And then I saw a little girl crying down there. And I looked at Justin's like, waving his arms around like, what? And he, later on, I found out, man, that, okay, all I saw was this ball, okay? But behind that ball was our wardrobe lady's 4-year-old daughter who was dressed up like Snow White. We used to call her Snow White, you know. I was like, hi, Snow White. And she was standing right behind the ball, but I didn't see her. So when I kicked the ball, she was behind it, she got launched right up into the air, literally like 15 feet up in the air. And James's tech, Chad, caught her perfectly. It was a perfect catch. And of course, I didn't see any of this. You know, I just heard the audience go, oh. And then all these like weird looks on everyone's faces. And Justin filled me in right afterwards. So I was like, oh my God. And so right when I got back to the hotel, I went onto YouTube and I watched what happened, and oh my God. You guys should check it out, okay? Go on YouTube and check it out. Because it's amazing, because she gets launched literally like 15 feet up into the air, and Chad...
Like he's returning a punt. I watched.
Oh yeah, it's like, bless his heart. It was like perfect, dude. And caught her. And set her down, and then she got up and started crying, and that's when I saw her. But man, I look at the views on YouTube, and it's like something like 4 million views or something. And I know why. I know why it's 4 million views. Because when I saw it, I was like, wow, and I had to watch it again and again. I watched that thing like 10 times. It is amazing. You guys should check it out. It is really, really something. I mean, man. Wow. Well, so yeah, I have a mixed relationship with these goddamn balls. Okay, I don't know what the heck is going to happen. You know, that's not anything that you can ever predict. You know, oh, I don't like these balls because there's going to be a little kid behind it when I kick it, and they're going to go launching through the air, and someone's going to catch it.
In a Snow White costume.
A Snow White costume.
Well, Greeny's not the only 59 Les Paul you had, and it wasn't the first either. When did you get turned on to Les Paul standards?
Well, I have to say Bob Rock turned me on to Les Pauls when we were recording the Black album, and that I thought they were just older Les Pauls. I had no idea that they were very special, and I'll explain why they're very special. They only made about 800, 900 of these from 1958 to 1960. And they put these special pickups on it, PAF pickups, which are hand wound, which means no set is the same. So all these guitars have a very unique sound because it was just kind of random. A guy was winding the pickups, you know, winding basically wire around the magnet, going 465, 466, 460 what, you know? And then putting the pickup into the guitar, and so they're all unique sounding. And then you have the top, the curly maple top, or just maple top, that has some of them have these stripes in it, and that's called flame. See that's the stripiness that Greeny has. That's called flame, and that's another thing that makes these guitars so desirable. And then the necks are just really, really great necks. Very, very responsive to the pickups. And they're just all just really, really wonderful and really great. And you know, I like to say that they are the Stradivariuses of the 20th century. And the electric guitar is one of the greatest American inventions of the 20th century. And if it wasn't for the electric guitar, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. You know?
I wouldn't be talking to you.
Yeah,
Yes.
you know, it's so. I mean, think about it. I mean, electric guitars are some of the best things that have ever been created because they last. They last forever. I mean, I hate to say it, but you know, these guitars are going to be around when I'm just like dust in the ground, and I'm fine with that, man. I am totally fine with that. I believe I'm going to be reincarnated anyway, so maybe I'll get reincarnated and end up with the same guitar. Who knows? I'm not bothered about it.
When did Burst start making it on Metallica records? Is that like Load?
On Load, yeah. I mean, if you watch the footage of Load and Reload, there's a lot of footage of me sitting there with standards, and I would play standards in the studio because they just sound the best. I mean, literally, they sound the best in the studio. You can really dial in the sound and get into the real, like, idiosyncrasies of the frequencies and how they react. You know, they're amazing instruments. They are. They're some of the best. I mean, they have not been topped. Yeah.
That's a rare one right there.
Yeah. Okay, so Black Les Pauls are super rare. They all were shipped, most of them were shipped with these type of tops. But to see a black one, I mean, there's only like 3 of them known to exist. And this one only exists because the guy who ordered it did not want to pay full price for Sunburst top, so he said to the factory, just make it plain black. But what he inadvertently didn't know was that he was creating a guitar that was even more rare than these guitars already are. And so finding a black one for sale is like really just like difficult, but I found one, and yeah, I have to thank Joe Bonamassa because he's the guy who told me that this was in Nashville. I woke up to a text, and I texted back, thanks Joe, I'm calling Carter right now, and made the deal. Because I knew about this guitar for about 10 years, and it was just a crazy road to getting this guitar. And, you know, I don't want to get into it, but it just like, I had to like really just chase this guitar down, but I finally did.
That's amazing. There's a lot of other factory black stuff here. We've looked at a lot of Gibson guitars. Let's just, the factory cherry stuff.
Yeah.
Let's get to this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
Okay.
let's talk about ESPs. We have a few here. There's a really cool one here, but let's talk about how, obviously there's the Strat era of your teenage years, which then turns into kind of the Flying V, and then we hit the ESPs. How did this guitar, I mean, you designed this guitar, we're right at the kind of era of the Super Strat, the dawn of the Super Strat, and you create this. What was the mindset going in?
Basically, I've always liked Strats. Jimi Hendrix, you know, Jeff Beck, all those guys, Richie Blackmore. And I loved my Gibson Flying V. So the thought was to just crash them together and make a hybrid of a Flying V and a Strat, and that's basically what this guitar is. It's humbucking pickups with a whammy bar, and I wanted it to be a neck-through body because they sound better and are much more durable when you throw them across the stage. Man, I used to throw that caution guitar. I used to launch it, man. And we had, on the Black Album tour, we had a stage that was made out of grate. So every time I would throw that guitar and I'd pick it up, it was like a cheese grater on the back of it. So if you see that guitar, man, the back of it is just gone. But they're durable guitars. Neck through body ESPs are durable. They sound better. You know, I tried to get the best aspects of the Flying V in there. You know, and unbound neck, just like the Flying V. You know, and so that's what the KH1 became. And I wanted to put in skull and crossbone inlays, but ESP wasn't having it. And I said, hey, I mean, come on, really? I mean, it's not that big of a deal design-wise. And so they finally relented. And then, like literally like 8 or 10 months later, it became a feature in their catalog, you know, for other guitars. It's crazy. But you know, the KH1 is ESP's bona fide biggest seller of all time, which is crazy, you know. It's just crazy, but that guitar still sells to this day, that model.
If someone goes into a store and buys one, is there any difference between what you are using on stage and that guitar, or you are using the same exact
No,
guitar?
I told ESP, well, other than the LTDs, I told ESP my guitar should be no different from the guitars that are being sold in the store, and I should be able to walk in, grab a guitar off the rack, you know, take it to, you know, wherever I'm playing and play it like any other of my ESP guitars. And they were like, fine, yeah, let's just do that. And they've kept up to that for you know, all this time. And you know, ESP, they're really flexible, and that's what I really like about them. And they humor me with all my crazy graphic designs, you know, like this. I mean, I designed this in 1995 using a bunch of Xerox copies of my poster and cutting them out. You know, I had different sizes of the poster, and literally cutting out the pieces of paper and laying them on a guitar, and then taking a picture and sending it to ESP. And I said, this is where the head should be, this is where the writing should be, and blah blah blah. And they put it together. The real bummer though is the person who made the Mummy guitars doesn't work at ESP anymore, and you know, has moved on. And so if I wanted to like make another Mummy ESP guitar, it wouldn't be quite the same as all the other ones. And so, you know, it's kind of unfortunate.
Now, we're at Hard Rock right now. There is a guitar on stage that we had pulled out of the Hard Rock vault. Is that the original Ouija from Cunning Stunts right there?
When I walked out here, I was like, what the heck? Yep, it is.
So when was the last time you saw this guitar?
Okay, so you know what? This was involved in a deal with that Greeny V. Yeah, I traded this as part of the deal with the Greeny V. It was a big package deal. And this one is a cool one because this was the very first glow-in-the-dark one I made. And I can tell that this one, yeah, this has a lot of wear because it has my kind of wear on it. I can always tell my guitars from my kind of wear. And wow, I haven't seen this guitar in a long time. You know, because I as a collector, I wish I had everything that I ever had. But you know, as a collector, I'm dynamic. You know, guitars like just move through my hands, and you know, I always find something else I want, or I'm just more interested in, and so I'll go, here, take this, give me that one. And you know, it would be great if I just had all the guitars I ever had, like James. But I just don't. And I actually like the fact that there's a lot of my guitars out there that are great, that I've played on stage that people have and enjoy. I mean, it goes back to like, you know, the Greeny thing. Should Greeny be in a case and you just stare at it, or should Greeny be singing to a stadium filled with 65,000 people? I mean, you know, should I, like, you know, leave this guitar in a case and forget about it and just know that I have it? Or should I just put it out there into the hands of someone who really, really appreciates it? Yeah, you know, I mean, I mean, that's the reasoning that I kind of like support is that guitars, they're almost like living things. They should be out there and being interacted with and played and just used to the utmost, because they're at the end of the day, I'm in awe of just all musical instruments and how you can use them as the ultimate instruments of human expression and creativity and beauty and art. And it's so strong when you make like a really, really great artistic statement, no matter if it's music or movies or painting or photography or whatever, man. When you see a good piece of art, it's just a wonderful thing, It's unquestionable. And like a guitar is kind of like unquestionable. They do what they do, and they do it so beautifully, man. And so, yeah, why should I just like hang on to a bunch of guitars I don't play? I put them out there all the time. People don't even know.
Now, before you got here, Justin and I were hanging backstage, and this came out, and we were talking with some of the people from Hard Rock. The Hard Rock was unaware that this guitar glows in the dark. So they found that out today. And I found out today that this guitar has a spelling mistake on it.
Oh yeah, that's
Can
right.
we talk about the spelling mistake? Because these are hand painted, correct?
Yeah.
The guitar is hand painted. Ouija board.
Yeah.
It's probably too far away to see on that picture, but
yeah, right there it is. Yeah.
I'll use my laser pointer right there.
Yeah. Talking bard set. It's supposed to say talking board set. It says talking bard set. Maybe they're thinking about Shakespeare or something. I don't know. But yeah, I love stuff like that. And I remember just one day just looking at this, going, "Oh my God, there's a mistake." Oh man, yeah. And I remember someone threw a coin, and it hit right there.
That big dent right in the middle of Ouija.
Yeah, you gotta watch out for coins, man. People used to throw coins all the time. And then they stopped. I don't know why they stopped, but thank God they stopped.
And also, there's Justin was that is definitely a stage strap, because there's a zip tie that would have held your pack on there. It's still, Justin said those are the strings that he put on there. They have not changed the strings on that guitar.
Hallelujah.
It's what, 2001 was that dated?
Yeah, something like that. Maybe even earlier. Yeah, because like I said, these are all my wear marks and all my scratch marks. And this is I remember this guitar. I mean, there's no question. And
we're getting there. Jeez, we're still talking.
Yeah, I wish you still had this guitar.
Well, it kind of spawned this whole series of Ouijas. We have them in varieties of colors. There's the purple sparkle that you were playing. Where's the purple sparkle? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There we go. That was on this run.
Okay, so hands down, the purple sparkle is the best sounding Ouija I've ever had. And I think it's because of the metal flake and the purple. It has something to do, adds mass or something. Also because to get the right purple effect, they have to put on like 5 or 6 different coats, which again adds to the mass. And so, in the right situation, when you add mass, it improves the sound of the guitar. And so I think that's just what's happening with the purple Ouija. And man, I love it. The red Ouijas also sound really amazing, and they're metallic as well. And I heard that someone found a purple Ouija on Facebook. Man, I would have bought that if I would have known it was out there.
And then we have, we get into the movie. How many different graphics have there been throughout the years with ESP?
Yeah, at least a dozen. I'm actually working on a few more. We were talking to ESP last week. And, if they're up for it, I'm up for it. But a lot of the monster graphic guitars are now in my horror movie poster collection museum show, which is going to start up again pretty soon. And there's a whole display of all of them all on one wall. It's pretty cool seeing all of them together on one wall.
You are going to bring... the first time we met was at the Wah Off that you did, and it was at South Carolina, and you had the whole collection. And
that's right.
That was, I believe, the week before COVID.
Yeah.
Because that was the last show I was at before the whole entire world shut down.
That was
Wah Off in the wedding band.
Yeah, that was the last show that Rob and I played before COVID, and thank God we were able to get in that show, because no one did anything for like a year and a half or 2 years or whatever it was. Yeah.
Wild. Well, we've got also, this is not the only model. There's the cage, 1 cage, 2 cage, 3. You said there's new stuff in the works. Is this something that we're going to be seeing on stage first? And then maybe the fans might have a chance to get a piece of it?
Well, it all depends on how it turns out. Because like a lot of times, if I like the way it turns out, then I'll say, yeah, let's make a limited edition. But basically, it's going to be like this, just with a different graphic on top of it. And I don't know why, but the Demonology guitar that I have, the one with all the sigils on the front of it, is one of the most popular ones that I've put out. And I don't quite understand why, because it's aesthetically it's not that complicated, but that people just like that artwork. The alchemy symbols on it, sigils, alchemy symbols. But the new ESP should be coming out sometime next year. But more importantly, this November, or this Halloween, there's going to be a new Gibson guitar coming out. Can we talk about that?
Well, I'm going to have to skip through the deck, but we love a good tease.
Yes.
What is this?
Well, I dream. After designing this guitar and being away from it, I actually miss not having it. I want to travel with it because it's so great. But this is the very first Kirk Hammett acoustic guitar that's being available commercially. It's the very first acoustic guitar I've ever put out.
And let's tell it to the story. What is this guitar called?
It is called the Raven.
The Raven.
And it follows the classic Gibson tradition of naming acoustic guitars after birds, like the hummingbird and the
dove and the firebird.
Yeah,
there's a bunch.
And so this is the Raven. And it's loosely based on a Everly Brothers Gibson guitar. And the Everly Brothers Gibson guitars had 2 pickguards, as you can see, on each side. But I was looking through a book of old Gibson acoustics, and I noticed that there was this one ornamental thing that used to be on a lot of the old Gibson acoustics, and that's the 3rd pickguard at the bottom. And I remember saying, I need to put that on acoustic guitar. And so we did, and it's great because not only do you get one pickguard, you don't just get 2 pickguards, you get 3 pickguards.
I mean, when they look that right, first off, I don't know who's picking back there. I don't know what it's starting from, but it looks so damn cool.
It looks great, and the engraving of the raven and the roses and then the thorns is so great, so classic, and just so much like the hummingbird and the dove. And one of my favorite things also is the fact that it has a raven skull at the very top in abalone, and that's a nice little tip. And it sounds amazing. It sings. It has a pickup in it, and man, it's a very, very lively sounding guitar.
And in classic Gibson Kirk Hammett form, probably sometime around Halloweenish.
Yes. And
I would be assuming this is going to be hitting the street.
Yeah, and it's none more black.
Until we can come up with something darker,
Exactly.
This is as dark as we can go, Well,
we can go back now.
Well, we have a special thing tonight. We have not had this whole tour. There's this other guy's name on the front cover of the book next to yours, and it's the photographer. His name is Ross Halfin. You guys have heard of Ross Halfin.
Yeah.
He's one of the goats of rock and roll photography.
Yep, Ross.
And I'm not sure if he likes me or not, but I consider him a friend. We never know if Ross likes anybody. I love him.
What?
Get him up here! Ross!
Come on, Ross.
Halfin.
Come on out, Ross. And Mark, it's okay. I don't know if Ross likes me too.
Oh
I wore this just for Kirk.
Come over here and give me a big hug, Ross. Come on. Look at this, Ross Halfin, everyone. I've known this guy. Look,
Hawaii.
look, he even wore a Hawaiian shirt. Is that one I gave you?
No. It's from Japan.
Okay, oh well, all right.
You want to join us for a second?
Go.
I mean, we've been looking at all these pictures. There's so much great stuff. How long did this take? How many different sessions for you guys to get the breadth of all of that you guys wanted to get done?
I think it was 13 trips to Hawaii.
Jenny Marsh, can you confirm that? 13 trips to Hawaii.
There was a lot of trips to Hawaii, and you know, I was all for it because then I could hang out with Ross and we'd go swimming out on the beach and you'd take a bunch of pictures of me flipping him off in the water.
Actually, there is something. If you look at the book, there's a lot of sunset shots, and they're all done 3 places, but there's one place we mainly went to, which is near where he lives, and every time we shot there, the sunset was different.
Yeah.
It's true, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
really strange, but it's actually a fact.
Well, you know, Hawaii's known for its sunsets as well. It's really, really dynamic. But yeah, I mean, we actually had a really, really great time doing it. A lot of times when we're working with Ross, you know, with the band, it's not that smooth or that easy because he's dealing with 4 of us. But when it's just Ross and I, man, we get so much work done. Every time.
And it's a weird dynamic is that we would either meet at before dawn. There's one shot where he's on the rocks and his hair's blowing. That was done at 5:30 in the morning.
What is the craziest thing that you made him do for this book?
No, I mean, the hardest shot, we kept going to Pally Point, which is Hendrix, had a song on Rainbow Bridge called Pally Gap.
No, Polly. The Polly.
Pally, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so windy, it would blow you, it'd blow you over.
Yeah.
And we went up there about 4 times, and once it was actually like pouring with rain. Remember, you couldn't even see in front of you. And then one day we said, come on, let's just try. And it was bright sunshine, and we got that shot.
It was like the clouds parted,
Yeah.
the sun came out, and it was a beautiful day all of a sudden. Just like it always happens in Hawaii. And so, you know, we got the shot. But
the other thing I like, we were in New York and went out after a show or something, didn't we?
Yeah,
and just wandered around with the Empire State Building and then down to where the World Trade Center was. And we did the same thing in Berlin.
Yep.
And then we did it in LA.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did we do it in
But it was gnarly in LA because we were in downtown LA, and I never really spent time in downtown LA.
Yeah, don't spend any time in
God.
downtown LA.
Don't go down there.
Don't bother.
Don't go down there.
Don't go down there.
Whatever you do, guys, don't go down there. It's not a good place, man.
It's very true.
Well, you guys have been around the world together probably a few different times. What's the craziest place you guys have been together where you've been taking pictures of this guy?
Great Wall of China.
Yeah.
And he took a guitar and an amp and made his guy Rob carry it, who hated me.
Carried an amp to the Great Wall of China?
Oh, Kirk never carried it.
Yeah.
In winter.
Okay, so check it out. I don't know if you guys have ever been to the Great Wall of China or not, but before the Great Wall of China even starts, there's a hill that you have to go up. It's about, I would say, about 3 long city blocks, and then the Great Wall starts. So he had to start at the bottom of that hill just to get to the Great Wall, and he had my guitar and amp, and Rob Fernandez, he's back there somewhere. He was
He
so
hated
mad.
me. No,
He was
truly
so
hated
mad.
me. Yeah.
Because we kept on walking. We're like, here, no. Here, no. Here, no. All right, here. And it was literally after 45 minutes of walking, and he was like,
Wasn't very happy. No.
But then it was like, we got a great shot.
But then he had to carry it down.
Yeah.
It was not pleasant.
And the pollution was so bad, I had to wear a mask. And, where's the picture?
You know what?
You got a book? Yeah, but anyway.
Get the book. It's in the book.
It's in the book.
Go and get the book.
But, I mean, him and I have taken pictures of white walls all over the world.
Nothing wrong with a white wall. Metallica had this thing like another white wall, but what you don't realise is if you have a white wall, you can put anything above it, next to it for copy. You need a good white wall.
Yeah, it's true. It's true though. I mean, for all the white walls that are out there, they all the shots look different. You know.
I mean, on all these like incredible shots that aren't live shots, that are like photos, when are those taken? Are those taken like the day after shows, traveling in between shows? Do you have to convince these guys to get out of their hotel to go do something crazy like this? Do they complain?
The drummer complains.
Surprise.
Surprise. No. I mean, compared to some of the people I deal with, this lot are easy, believe me, really. I mean, it's more, but you know, when you have done this a long time and you travel the world, you like your day off to be a day off. You know, really, not, because, you know, even if you're doing it with me, it's still work, but we sort of I work very quickly. So when we do stuff, it's never the whole day. You know, it's sort of like the end of the day for an hour.
Yeah. And we have a good dynamic. I mean, you and I, we know how to get the shot. We get it quickly. We know what to do.
You're going to see, we did one today.
Yeah, we did a shot on the way here that you guys will probably see later on. He'll post it.
We did. It was.
And that took all of 12 minutes or something?
Yeah, really.
You'll see. It's not that far from here.
Not far.
Now, besides photography, you're not you're an above amateur guitar collector as well. I would say.
I am.
You've got a pretty good little smash.
I can make a noise, and Jimmy Page once said to me, I was doing that Hendrix thing, you know, at the end where what do you call it, Rick?
Hammer-ons.
Hammer-ons, thank you. And I said, see, I can do that. And Jimmy goes, then you can play the guitar. Because he said, it's not about how well you can play the guitar. I went to see, and this is a true story, in Japan, Brian Setzler, who was doing, you know, doing the whole thing. And I'm watching it going, I can't work out if he's good. And Jimmy went, he's amazing. I said, why? He goes, because if you listen to Brian Setzler, close your eyes, you know it's him. If you listen to Metallica and hear Kirk soloing, you know it's Kirk. But there's certain guitar players, and I'm not going to name them, who can play technically perfectly, but they have no sound of their own. You know, it's not about the fact that you're like a virtuoso. It's about creating your sound. Like Metallica have their own sound, Iron Maiden have their own sound, Pantera have their own sound. Yep. You know, Suicidal Tendencies have their own sound. All these bands, and that's a great band, and that's a great, you know, that's what makes music.
Yep, it's true.
You've already kind of started hinting that there might be a second book.
Is that for real? And would you do it again?
Yeah, we're going to do it in Bali, just further away.
Get
That's
the
a great
invoice.
idea. We're going to do the next book in Bali. Okay,
We're
let's do it.
going to start in Australia in November.
I'm going to make sure I bring my surfboard. If we did the book in Bali, we'd get nothing done because I'd be surfing the whole time. I mean, that's the only place that's better to surf than Hawaii in terms of a number of places to surf. But that's a whole another story altogether. We are going to make another book, right, Ross?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, good.
Yeah, another book?
I just confirmed that with him. And yeah, I'm still getting guitars. And they still need to be photographed. And yeah, we're going to do another book for sure.
Fantastic.
I always find something.
Yeah.
Well, Ross, this is so great to have you here. This is the 5th one of these. This is the first time we've had you here. Thank you so much for coming out. Thank you for the incredible shots in this book.
Thanks, Ross.
Cheers, buddy.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll see some of you tomorrow.
Yeah, night too.
Yeah, thanks, Ross.
Well, we jumped around through a lot of the deck. The one thing we didn't get to talk about that has been my favorite part of every, you know, because I've seen you guys now in every city on the tour, is when you and Rob get a second to do duets. Yeah. How does that work? When do you guys rehearse, write, or how do duets work? And who comes up with stuff?
Basically, Rob calls me up and goes, okay, tour's starting, we need to do something for 3 minutes. And it started off with just doing cover songs, and then it morphed into doing local cover songs, and then it morphed into writing instrumentals for each city, a unique city, and now it's morphed into all of the above. We've got to a point where we can do whatever we want. If we need to do a cover song, we'll do it. If we need to do a deep cut, we'll do it. If we need to do a local song that's really super popular, we can do it. If we need to do an instrumental, we can do it. If we need to combine all three of those things together into one thing, we can do it. We just basically figured out at this point we can do anything we want up there. We just need to be entertaining, and it needs to be played well. And so, it's a pretty cool thing. And Rob and I really enjoy it these days. We used to stress so much, and he used to have 3 days to learn a song in Czechoslovakian, because he had to sing it in Czechoslovakian, right? And it's the weird gypsy jazz folk song, right? But we would do it, and it actually. Learning all the various local folk songs across Europe actually made us better musicians, because it put a totally wide range of different styles in front of us and a deadline.
Have you ever blanked?
What's that?
Have you ever blanked on stage? Because when we were in Nashville, I was watching you guys walk out. You guys looked like you were still working it out on the walk from the stage. You guys were pointing at chord changes and you guys were still working it out.
Those are our last minute notes. Those are last minute notes, and we really need those, because usually the instrumental doesn't come together till literally the day of the show, or sometimes hours before the show. And so we're down to the wire. But we always seem to pull it off, and we haven't had any major train wrecks yet. Knock on wood. I mean, there's been a few flubs, and flubs are funny, they're human. I mean, musical flub that we make is the equivalent of tripping on a shoelace, or accidentally hitting your head, And we used to beat each other up about making mistakes on stage, but now we just laugh. We just laugh. Yeah, and what I really love is the look on everyone else's face when we make a mistake. But, I mean, all that aside, Rob and I, we don't really have a lot of time off. Our days off are spent working on these duets. And like I said, when I first walked into here, we had a great beach day. But he knew that I was going to bring my guitar, so he brought his bass and amp. He showed up with his bass and amp, and I was just he knew I was going to have my guitar. And so we ended up playing right there on the beach. Little kids were walking by looking at us going, what the hell is going on with those guys? But it was a great thing. And we're just going to continue doing it until, we can. And it's always going to be different. We're never going to repeat ourselves.
Well, I mean, we're at the Hard Rock. We're on a proper stage. There's a Greeny. There's a Mesa Boogie. Is there a Rob Trujillo in the building that we can maybe
is
bring
there a
out
Rob
on stage
Trujillo?
right now?
Oh man, of course there's got to be a Rob Trujillo somewhere, man. I'm just making a short little. I'm just gonna turn this up a little bit. Turn that up. Okay, Rob. I think. Oh, my psychic powers are working. There is a Rob. There is a Rob Trujillo in the house. Rob, are you here? Are you somewhere, Rob? Do you have a bass?
Can we maybe get him out here? Maybe we can do one of those slow clap things where we start slow and then it speeds up and there he is!
Yeah! Yeah!
Wow. Okay. Oh, so this is what's going on, Kirk. I didn't know what was going on. Anyway, thank you for being here and hanging out with my best buddy in the whole world right here, Kirk Hammett. Yeah, so I guess we're going to play our hit single for you. What Devil's Lettuce? Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. I roped Rob into this. I said, bro, come on. You gotta come.
You gotta come and play again. You know.
What else are you going to be doing at 7 o'clock on Sunday, or is it Saturday? Yeah. Oh, here he is.
Roach Heel in the house. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right. Where's your amp? Okay, why don't we switch positions? You sit right, you stand right there. I'll stand right here.
the Ripper, Hammett, Rob Trujillo. Thank you guys so much for coming to the Collection Live. I had a blast. We hope you had a blast. Rob, did you have a blast? Yep.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming. I hope to see all you guys tomorrow. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Zach. You guys rule, all right? Thank you, all right? All right, you guys, you're the best. We'll see you. Bye.